Hey guys, this is going to be my out-of-box review here for the HG Build Divers Impulse Gundam Lancier, and it's a pretty cool kit. If you guys didn't see, I just, before this, did my review of the Impulse Gundam Arc, and it's essentially the same kit with a little bit different armaments on it, and they can do some weird mixing and matching, so we'll check all of that out in this review. I'm not going to go over the articulation in this review, so if you are interested in watching that, then again, go back and check out my review of the Impulse Gundam Arc. But I gotta say, before I built the kits, I was definitely more a fan of the Arc, and I still like the Arc a little bit better, but I have come around to liking this one a lot more than I thought I would. Essentially, the main design here is really not all that different. It has a little bit different head, and the back thruster fuel tank thing is different from what was on the Arc, and then it has different side skirts as well. I definitely prefer the side skirts of the Arc. They had that really cool cannons on there. These are just kind of like weird. They almost kind of remind me of something that would be on the Curios or something from Gundam 00. But in general, like with the Arc, this is a really nice solid kit being based off of the HG Revive Force Impulse. It's a good kit to be based off of. It's nicely articulated, nicely detailed, and the proportions are really good as well, and so all of that is carried over into this kit as well. So we'll check it all out here in a moment. As always, a huge thank you to SA Gundam Store for sponsoring the review, guys. Do check out the link to their site there down below. You can get this kit and everything else on their store with 10% off if you use that coupon code there, ZakuAurelius10. So the link is there down in the description. Check that out. So let's just take a look here at what the kit comes with. Alright, so first off, a recap of the sticker sheet is very minimal, just the eyes, the cameras on the front and back of the head, and then the big one there in the center of the torso. But as you can see, once again, I cut a little bit out of this one to fill in these cameras on the side of the V-fan. I don't know if you guys can see those. It doesn't come with those. I just had to cut little pieces to fill those in because those are supposed to be little cameras there on the side of the head, I guess, as well. So you just cut some stickers out of there. Luckily, the sticker sheet gives you plenty of leftover space to cut your own camera stickers out of those if you want to use that. But again, just there and around here on the back of the head. We've got our two connector pieces for when you have it split into the chest core flyer and the leg flyer. You can attach those onto action bases separately. And then for his main weapon here, we've got the Lancier Javelin, which looks pretty cool. I kind of wish they didn't have these kind of ugly looking hard points in there. But it's not too bad. It at least doesn't have like any hollow spaces or anything here for the Javelin, and the handle is in gray instead of just being all one color, so it's not too bad. And then the shield, that's a little bit of a different story, as it looks really cool from the front. Just the shape and design of the shield is really cool, and like the yellow piece there in the center is nice, but on the back, there's a lot of hollow spaces there and weird attachment points just sticking up out everywhere. So as long as you're looking at it from the front, it's going to look really cool. You'd also have a little bit of articulation here as this part moves. Again, I think that's for the transformation of that. And then you have your connector piece, which will allow you to attach this onto either the side or the back of the arm, whichever you might choose. And that's it for the official accessories, but again, we have a lot of leftover parts, including the two flyers from the Impulse Gundam. You have the full Impulse Gundam's beam rifle. You have all the parts to make the original shoulder armor, as well as the original side skirt, which is just a single piece there. And you have a handful of leftover parts there as well, but not all the parts to make the shield, not all the parts to make the original chest. It's missing the part that goes around here. So you can't make a full Impulse Gundam with this in this different color scheme if you wanted to. You are missing a few parts for that. So I think the weapons, or weapon, I guess I should say, because all it really has is the Javelin there, is not really something that would normally be to my taste, but I think it works really well with the overall design, and that's what kind of turned me around to liking this kit a lot more, just because it looks really cool, and especially as a set with the Impulse Gundam Arc, having that as like a big gun, and then this one having like as a close combat mobile suit kind of thing, just with the shield and the lance there. They work really cool as a team, and I think they'll definitely make a really good set together if you combine them together. One thing that I did point out with the Arc is that it might be a little bit lacking in weapons or accessories if you wanted something a little bit more than like a single gun. That one did also have the side skirt cannons, whereas this one doesn't really have anything else. It has the shield, I guess, which you could sort of count as well, you could of course count it as an extra accessory, but not as a weapon. If you wanted something that did come with at least like a beam saber as well, or some sort of any other weapon, then you're just not really going to have a whole lot of options with this. But on the other hand, ultimately, whenever you're going to be displaying a kit on the shelf or something, you're only going to have one or possibly two weapons in hand anyway, if you like dual wielding. So my point is, well, it's nice to have a lot of options. Sometimes you really don't particularly need that if it's a very specific mobile suit. And I think this definitely pulls off the look really well of being a very specifically outfitted mobile suit. Okay, as I said, we're not going to go over all the articulation of this kit, but I do just want to show you bits related to the new parts for this. So you have these very long and pretty nicely detailed side skirts on here. These little flaps on the end, though, those will move and fall off if you're not careful. So just be careful with those. It seems like every time I try to move them, they'll fall off. But as long as you don't touch them, they should be fine on there. Also here on the back, this new big fuel tank here will move on its own. But it's kind of weird how it's just like right behind this thruster, and you can't move this up any like too much farther than that. So it seems like a little bit poor design on that one. So while it may look a little bit odd, if you're just kind of willing to ignore that, then it does look pretty cool. I mean, I do like the design of this new kind of fuel tank slash thruster there at the end. And again, this does transform into the separate chest core flyer and leg flyer. And like with the Arc, they're pretty goofy looking, but hey, if you wanted to transform them, you can. You'll attach the end of the javelin onto the underside of the shield, and that becomes like kind of the nose cone of the chest core flyer. The leg flyer, it's basically just you kind of turn the side skirts around, fold the legs up, and there you go. And it doesn't really end up looking all that interesting, but it's that. You can do it anyway. And again, you can combine forms by separating the halves there and swapping with the Impulse Gundam Arc like that. I'm not really sure what tactical purpose that serves. I guess it now has the Arc's side skirts, and the Arc now has the Lancier's side skirts. So you could swap them like this, but I think much more interestingly is how they combine all the accessories kind of together, and let me show you how to do that. So first you combine a side skirt by plugging this onto this lower part of there, and there is your combined side skirt. Then you'll combine the back skirt parts by plugging this onto the bottom side of there, like that. And once again combine the Lancier's weapons by removing the handle and then sticking the end of the javelin here onto the bottom side of this here. Oh yeah, right, sorry, it doesn't fit on there. That's the position that you plug it onto when it's in its separated transform state, which does look a lot better. But for this one, you have to plug it onto here where it's farther down, and it looks a little bit goofy. From the front, it's like kind of okay, but from here it looks like it's just kind of stuck onto the very end of the shield. It looks a bit weird. And then simply take the Arc's gun and give it to the Lancier here. And so there you go, when it's all together, there's the Lancier Arc. Or if you swapped and put the new combined parts onto the Arc Gundam, then it'd be the Arc Lancier. Just kind of switch swap the name to there. But it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a full armor version, I guess, sort of fully loaded version. The downside is though now your Arc Gundam is missing side skirts and any sort of weapons or accessories. So one thing that you could do is then use some of the leftover parts from the Impulse Gundam, use the original Impulse Gundam side skirts, and then you have the beam rifle from the original Impulse Gundam as well. Then you could give to the opposite kit if it's feeling a little bit lonely, or takes parts from a different kit or whatever else you wanted to do with that. But that would be the only downside of doing this sort of combined form, but it's pretty cool. I can appreciate that Bandai is trying something new. This is certainly something unique that we don't see in a lot of kits. Any sort of like combining like this that's actually part of the canon rather than just parts that you can combine if you want because they fit together. This is actually kind of part of the design, so pretty cool. So there we go, when it's all said and done, it's a really cool kit. It doesn't do anything really super amazing, so it's not the kind of kit that I would say everyone really needs to check out this kit, because like I said before, it's pretty specialized, and so I think if this is something that you like, you think looks cool, then by all means get it. It's a very solid kit. I definitely like everything about this. The weapons are nice, nicely detailed, and the hollow spaces on the back of the shield are disappointing, but you're really not going to see that all very much, and there's ways to fix that if you're really super inclined. All in all, it's a pretty solid kit, pretty minimal in terms of the seam lines. There's of course a big seam line down the middle of the fuel tank there on the back, seam line down the middle of the head and on the forearms, but it's really not all too bad. And even if you don't paint, the colors that it comes molded in I actually really quite like. That's two-tone kind of pink, the dark red and the pink color, and then the different colors for the weapons as well, that kind of light cream color for the shield and then the more white color for the end of the javelin. It all ends up looking really cool. If you just wanted to go in and do some panel lining on this, I think it'd be a pretty nice looking kit. That said, at 1900 yen each, costing you around 18 to 20 bucks around there each for these, getting the set of the two of them will cost you a little bit. If that's really worth it for you, it's just going to be up for you to decide. I think they're pretty nice though as a set, so I definitely recommend getting both if you can. But if one appeals to you more than the other, then of course that's understandable as well. If you guys do want to check out these kits or anything else, of course, remember to check out the link to USA Gundam store there down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Hey! Thanks for watching, guys.
Remember, if you want to check the kit out for yourself, you can head over to USA Gundam Store, use that coupon code ZakuAurelius10, save yourself 10%. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.